and welcome to another edition of Grapsody Interviews right here on Fightful. I'm Will Washington, and you see Phil Lindsay here. You see Righteous Reg here, but the man of what'll be about an hour is the one and only one half of the AEW World Tag Team Champion Swerve in our glory. He is welcoming back to Grapsody, actually, Swerve Strickland.
Sir, what's good? What's good, families? Family, all y'all. Because I spent time with everybody in here outside of the, wrestling world. So,
that's what's up, man. We are super excited to have Swerve back again. We had you on a little bit before you got with AEW, and now you're one half of the tag team champions, man. What a big couple months it's been. It seems like it's been a long time, but it hasn't really been that long. It's crazy.
That was February, right?
March was my debut at Revolution.
We had him on in February.
Wow. Yeah.
Right.
So, I like looking back at those conversations and stuff and be like, hey, remember I said I was going to do that? At that time?
So first thing I have to say, from that conversation, I don't know if you remember, but we asked you, who did you think was going to the finals for NBA? And you said at the time, the Warriors and the Bulls. And I told you, I was like, man, as a Bulls fan, I can't get my hopes up, man.
Yeah.
And I think my prediction was the Bucks. So when I was sitting there watching Grayson Allen just murder us with threes, I'm like, yo, this is what I tried to tell Swerve.
He's like, hey. We have tendencies, bruh.
Yeah, but then again, I think in the same conversation you were saying how, an injury could change an entire season.
It sure does.
Not having ball all season definitely hurt us.
Yep. And it's funny, the Warriors' successes is always based on injuries to other teams too. So I was like, okay, when certain people start dropping or some people start getting naggy injuries and stuff, it always turns the tide in the favor of the Warriors.
Right.
So I've seen that coming. As soon as I seen the injuries popping, I'm like, all right, I know exactly what's going to happen now.
Before we get into wrestling, by the way, I have to ask you, because you tweeted the other day that you're almost checked out of the MCU. I have to know where exactly this is coming from.
Man, you can't be taking my tweet so seriously like that and putting me on the spot like that, bro. Come on, man. I be bullshitting half the time, man. Come on.
That's a big deal. That's a big topic.
No, because honestly, because I'm like slightly with you in the fact that we talked about on this show how part of the reason everybody was that part of the thing that made the MCU work so well was the fact that we knew that it was all building to something, that it's like each movie we came out of it like, okay, we got this to look forward to. We know that we're getting to Thanos. We know that we're getting to the big Avengers crossover. We know we're getting to something. And I keep walking out of these most recent movies just feeling like, all right, that was fine. But
yeah. Well, I think a lot of the magic was finally seeing characters on screen, seeing finally seeing Iron Man. Oh, we finally getting to see a Thor. And I remember, I'll never forget, was at the end of Iron Man and stuff, after the post credits, you saw the Thor's hammer, and everybody got so excited. Like, oh, how are they going to do Thor? And then they did Thor, and it was like, okay. Then how are we going to bring Spider-Man in to mingle with these characters? Then you had the Ant-Mans, and so it was building like the Captain Americas and all that stuff. Now it's all been built. And I don't think there's anything to build anymore. There's no nostalgic wow factor of seeing these characters intermingle on screen anymore. When that first Avengers happened, that was mind blowing. That took cinema to the whole new level of what's the possibility of cartoon animated characters or comic book characters being on screen at the same time. That was we never thought that was possible. You could do it. So now we're seeing. And then now we're getting to play now they're just throwing around things of Daredevil talking with Tom Holland's Peter Parker and stuff like that. And then we're getting those kind of crossover characters. Then you got the Defenders doing that stuff. So now it's just it just happens now. It's not a special thing anymore.
Yeah.
So
I think we've gotten spoiled, man. But
yeah,
I think when Fantastic Four hits, I think people are going to be ready again, man. I think people.
I don't think so. I don't think. I
Okay.
think
All right.
Fantastic Four is doomed. They're cursed, bro. I can't do it.
This
Okay.
is
Just
funny
telling you.
because this is sounding like a pro wrestling conversation. A lot of people
Come on,
say
let it play
is.
out.
they say these things about pro wrestling, like there was a lot of build up. Now there's the execution, and I don't like the execution, and I don't think we can recover. But
No,
oddly enough, very recently, pro wrestling has recovered. It's been insane on all sides of the coin.
it goes through its fluxes, man.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it hits its lulls, and like I don't think in the history of it, I don't think we really had the public forum to really like hear a lot of like the discussion from the fan base of how they receive what they're seeing. But it goes through its fluxes, and then it peaks up again, and it holds that for a while. I think the highs, the peaks, hold longer than the valleys do when it does. But right now it's just like momentum back and forth in all accords in pro wrestling.
Yeah, and I don't know. This is, I will say, 2022 has been kind of a crazy time just in general. So you've gotten to talk a lot, and I feel like a lot of people who follow Grapsody follow a lot of what you do, and so I'm not going to dwell on a lot of things you've said before, but talking since the last time you were on this show, like just kind of overall your experience in AEW thus far. How has it been?
It's been excellent, of course. The first like month or two is always like the interesting period of like you're figuring out where you belong in the company. It's not like you just coming in, boom, I'm busting through the door. I'm ready to take every opportunity. I'm going to run with this. I'm going to do this, that. It's not like that with like in wrestling locker rooms, especially like a locker room like an AEW with just like so much high caliber talent. There's a lot of like knowledgeable people there. There's people with experience that's done everything in this business has to offer. It's a lot of like meshing with those people. So a lot of people is just like, oh, this person belongs in this locker room. Oh, this talent needs to come to here. They need to go there. It's not as simple as that. It's like bringing a superstar running back to this team. They don't always mesh because the chemistry isn't there, because it's not just the performer. It's not the athlete. It's the people. You got to mesh as people first. And then it becomes like, okay, now they're gelling and having chemistry and performing on the field or on the shows and stuff like that. Those things are important too, and I think that's overlooked a lot with a lot of fan bases just wanting to see people just jump back and forth between companies. Like you can just do that. Like no, like some people, it's like the people have to be right for the place and in the locker room to mesh with the other people. Then it becomes a great work environment for all that to actually become coexist and become in sync. So that was my first month and a half and 2 months in AEW. It was just like I don't think people could get a real gauge on me, and I couldn't get a gauge on certain people as well. So I know they didn't know what my intentions were, how I wanted to become like a successful entity to the company. Do I just want to take everything from what the company has to offer, or do I want to bring my talents and offer something that they don't have, so the company looks good too? You know what I mean? You like, it's a lot of like give and get. You know, I can take matches, I can take like money, I can take all the opportunities that they can offer, but at some point for me to be a true investment to AEW, what can I provide them? What can I give to them to be a long-term investment and somebody that you like Tony can always count on with something, because I'm giving my energy and my heart and effort and energy and back to them and the company to show that I am a team player. I think that was the first month and a half and 2 months. So that's when the Jerichos really started vibing with me. It's like, okay, we like this guy. We can do some stuff with this guy. And then the Dustin Rhodes is like, okay, we like this guy. We can do some more stuff with this guy. And then the Jerry Lynn's be like, oh, okay, we like this guy. We can do some. That takes time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's great. Well, because like, you know, I think from a talent perspective, I feel like that was kind of the base you pretty much had covered, in the sense that the For a lot of people who weren't familiar with your work, there was a lot of kind of the stamp of WWE guy on you. But like for the people that were, and especially for the wrestlers that were, I mean, I was there the moment you walked in and people were seeing you for the first time, and it just felt almost like a family reunion in a sense that you were seeing a lot of guys that you had worked with a million times over before, and that was kind of cool to see. And it was a reminder that you have been kind of around this business as long as you've been, and you've worked with so many of these guys before.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely. It did feel like a family reunion, but also a lot of these people haven't seen me in like 5 years,
Right.
because being signed with WWE and stuff. Like I don't know, that like to them that place could have changed me. That could have like, oh man, he's one of those. He's converted to that kind of, that kind of like systematic person, and I'm like, no, I'm just still me. I just like I'm always going to try to adapt to wherever my surroundings are, and I've done it so many times, and I'll always learn how to do it again. I'm confident in myself to be able to do that with new management, new talent, new fan bases. It's like I'm patient with it. Like it's easy to get frustrated when things don't go off right away, and that's just the art and what we do, and that's like the pride in us as performers. But for me, it's like, oh no, I've been here before. I just gotta take a step back, just ease into it rather than trying to like full like foot on the pedal, gas, burst through the doors, like screaming, "Hey, everybody, look at me! Here, I'm going to be the new thing. I'm here. Like, give me titles, give me this, give me matches, give me main events. I need to be this, I need that. Like, some people like, this doesn't work like that, and the fan base wants it like that too. Like 3 weeks go by, and they're like, "Oh, he's been wasted." Like, relax, ease into the things, and then let that person like start to generate momentum to really start going upstream. So now people can like really like gravitate to something and grab onto something more than just like people in the ring doing wrestling moves.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty cool to see your transition into AEW. Pretty quickly, you got involved with your now tag team partner, tag team champion Keith Lee. You guys previously had a relationship before you both entered into AEW. How was it reconnecting with Keith Lee in AEW? It seemed like a little bit of turmoil at moments there, but y'all ended up getting it done. But how was it reconnecting back with Keith Lee? Did it feel like, riding a bike, like them old shoes, or how was it?
Man, me and Keith talk about this all the time. Still, it's like we're two individual performers that know how to perform.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have that, like as soon as the red light comes on, we perform.
Right.
It's like we're great at timing with one another.
Mm-hmm.
We know when one's down, when the other is up instantly. So it's not like he's up and then it's like, okay, I'm down. No, it's always like synergy with us. We always just perpetually moving, and that's something that that's something like lifelong tag teams don't have. Some people, there's tag teams that don't have that, but we're two individuals that just know our art and our business, and what we know we know what kind of picture we're going to paint before we even do it. So therefore we're always on the same page no matter what, tag team or singles. We just know we know the layout and stuff, and we agree on a lot of the same philosophies for what we do, and that right there makes us strong individually and even stronger as a team. And that's why we are successful at what we do, because we have the same philosophies with a lot of things, and we agree on a lot of things. And like even the things we disagree on or we don't match like 100% on, the other person picks up on on what they don't. Like, oh, Keith doesn't do this, I'll do it. I can't do this, I shouldn't be doing this, I don't agree with that, don't worry, Keith can do that. So we also like pass the buck to the other person, because once again, we're two individual performers that are really good at performing.
And, that's worked out before. Of course, you've talked about you did an interview with Andreas, and you talked about how that has worked out previously in the AEW tag division with Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page. And so, and as you mentioned, they're considered probably one of the best tag teams to ever hold the belts. And talking about the division as a whole, you entered into a division that has really, since AEW's inception, had a lot of critical acclaim. Talking about guys like the Young Bucks, talking about Kenny and Hangman, FTR, and you have the distinction of being of something that AEW aspired to be from the beginning, which was a really tag team focused company. And now you're holding the gold. You get to be kind of at the helm of that tag division. I guess talk to me a little bit about what it's like being a part of that division and what you hope to accomplish being at the forefront of it now, being the tag team champion.
It was for me. It was awesome because it wasn't what people expected of me. People have seen me as a single star for so long, and doing like winning singles championships like in everywhere I go to, that it was cool to present it in a new light, in a different way. And I'm always like down to do that with like, that just, for me, that gives so much longevity to what I really am and truly going to break into next. Because now that what they know with the AEW fan base, the people that haven't watched me in NXT and WWE and stuff, or Lucha Underground or MLW, that people that haven't seen me before, they know me as a tag team wrestler with Keith Lee right now. And I'm like, okay, cool. Keep that in your mind then. And that's all you're going to know of me right now? Cool. Then when on the other side of things, which I think we're going to hold these tag titles for quite a while, but on the other side of things, there's so much that I haven't even put on the plate for y'all to even like really see yet and really consume. So that's going to be the next part. That's going to be the next fun part to just continue watching me, because my growth is just still going. You know what I mean? I still, like, I've been here 5 months and I just hit my finisher.
I lost it for that, by the way.
I just finally hit my finisher.
But
I've been winning.
We hadn't seen you've been swerve stomping the whole time. It's either been the swerve stomp or the house call. But and then when we finally saw the JML driver, I was like, I had to think about it, and I thought, we haven't seen that. Because the hard part is I've been playing 2K20, right? Or 2K22. So that's your finisher in the game.
And so that's me doing the finisher in the game too. That's actually me.
Right. You mocap that. That's
you could tell.
I said that to you. That the funny thing about wrestling games is when they do mocap, it always drives me nuts where you can absolutely tell who's not doing their genuine mocap. Like, because it always feels like somebody imitating the wrestler. It always feels like Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's like, no, that's somebody like trying to be Stone Cold. But like, all of your mannerisms are like spot on, and that was my moment where I'm like, that is absolutely Swerve. There's not a chance that that's somebody mocking or mimicking him. That's him. Yep,
that's true.
All the dives too. And when I saw the dives, I was like, okay, they was doing something crazy out here. It wasn't like SmackDown in 2000. It's been they upgraded for sure, these mocap.
Oh yeah, there's been a whole new team since I've been there too. I think the last time I did was like 2018. I believe. So they definitely, that's like 4 years of just like new animations, new athletes coming in to capture all these movements. So there's a lot of stuff. I'm like, oh wow, they put that in. Oh man, they added this. Like, this is crazy. The team has been working, man. I don't know who they could have recruited to do this. Yeah,
that's great.
But yeah, like that. But I take pride in the fact that, like, man, there's still a lot of stuff you haven't seen from me. There's still a lot to see. Like, I'm already excited about 2023. I'm already excited about it, and for what I have in store for some stuff. Like, I just keep watching, because I don't put it all out there. I don't even really drop a lot of clues either on social media and stuff, because I want people to just always be like, okay, something's about to go down every time. Like you see the presence of Swerve on advertised for something. I'm like, okay, I got to tune in, because I don't know how he's going to, like, is he going to go this way? Is he going to veer this way? Is he going to double down on what happened the week before? Is he going to raise up, or is he going to pull back? You never know with those kind of things, because I always have something else new, and I have a new presentation or a different type of psychological thing I want to bring to the table that fits this narrative or fits this situation, this moment. It's always going to be just I'm ever going. I'm ever going. Always just evolving at all times.
Man, I gotta give you credit because I think you caught us by surprise twice this year because I wasn't expecting the buy-in match for Forbidden Door to be that good. That match with Suzuki-gun was amazing.
That was
And
fun.
That was fun.
I think you guys have had 3 pay-per-view matches at this point as a tag team that have been incredible. And so going into All Out Weekend, I think you guys have a chance to, show guys again what you guys can do together.
Absolutely. Like, I think we're the sleeper match of the pay-per-view, even though we are a tag team title match. But good. I want it to be like that because they all did the same thing about us in the buy-in at Forbidden Door. Right. I did the same thing at Double or Nothing. We were always the sleeper match. And like to me, that's the story of my career. I love being in that position. Like I said, the last time we had this interview, I was like, oh yeah, my favorite thing is to make people look dumb and doubt and like doubt me or put something like, oh man, that's gonna be cool. I don't know. I'm like, all right, cool. Then like your favorites, I'm sorry, I'll be outperforming them a lot of times. I'm just saying.
We see it. We have eyes.
I don't know. I was sitting at home watching that sequence with Nick, and I was like, yo. This dude is in there cooking, man. That was one of the most legit surprises this year of you guys winning the tag titles. I did not see that coming at all. We don't get surprised that much in wrestling, and that was one of those outcomes that I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yep.
Great night, by the way.
Yeah, but like it was weird. Like it was awesome moment, awesome awesome career. Definitely like a career moment for myself and Keith. But it's just like, man, like the shock. I think wrestling fan bases are afraid of the shock in wrestling now. They're afraid of it. They don't know how to handle shock anymore.
Right.
They're like, oh man, well that was like I don't think that there's a illegal tag. Somebody didn't tag, so there's controversy around the tag title. I'm like, damn, can we get like a congratulations, thank you, welcome, right. like good job, like damn, we didn't even get that first. If you want to do that, cool, but like damn, that's the first thing like we get. It's like. Okay,
cool. Give you your flowers, man. We're on our Nori right now, man. We're giving you your flowers, man. Make some noise for our guy.
That's what's up. And at All Out, it's actually it's only been 5 months, you said, but it's already a full circle moment. When you debuted in AEW, you debuted in a little video featuring the people that you're going to have a tag team title match with, the Acclaim. How important is this match? First of all, how important was that to debut in a cool setting kind of like that? Because they put a big deal on you. You look dope. You look like Swerve, like the person that's supposed to be. And how important is this? 2 black tag teams going at it, All Out Weekend. You guys, the Acclaimed. It's only been 5 months, but it's been a showdown that's been brewing. It's a really important match. How important is all this?
It's incredible. And I'm really happy and proud of the Acclaim for getting the opportunity for this too. Like they deserved it. They've been like working hard. They've been like progressively getting over in the opportunities that they have been giving. They've been making the most out of it. Now it's like, okay, cool. Now we want to put you on the platform to not only show that you actually deserve it, but y'all need to prove that y'all deserve it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I feel like everybody needs that opportunity to prove that they do deserve the spot that they're getting. They don't need to just be placed there because, we need to fill this spot or something on the card. We need a tag title match, so we're putting you out there. Or, we need to like y'all actually worked hard and deserve it. Now go out there and prove them that y'all do deserve it. And there's no slight against y'all, but like you're going up against like 2 of the best out there in the industry today. You put a lot of like the best African American performers in the industry. Me and Keith are 2 of the top guys out there.
Hey, I think Reg has a list coming real soon here.
Yeah, you know how I feel about these lists. But
Yo.
anyway,
Oh, yikes.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. What's going to happen?
yeah,
I have to ask right quick on this conversation. That day, I think you put something out there, and I think people misunderstood it. And you were saying, what black wrestlers would you put as your top 10 in the world? And you were just like, I'm trying to see something. A lot of people didn't quite understand what you meant. I'm giving you the floor to clarify that because I
Yeah.
think people tried to jump to conclusions on you.
yeah, which they do, and I knew that's why I said I'm trying to see something. And a lot of people did exactly what I thought they'd do. Some people, why is it a black thing? Why is it like this? And then some people just continue to make another top 10 black wrestlers list. I'm like, I hate when people just call like one of their favorite black wrestlers or something like that the GOAT, or they just say like they're my favorites. They're one of the best in the world. They're the best. They're the best. They're the best. They're the best. Okay, but where do you compare him to like a Seth Rollins? Oh, I think Seth. Okay, where do you compare him to a Brock Lesnar? Where do you compare him to like a Osprey, a Kenny, the Bucks, Adam Page, a Punk? And then that's when we start naming all these like great performers out there, a Riddle, like all these guys, our name starts dropping a little bit more and more and more and more and more and more. So then it comes to the point we just make a whole nother list to separate it all together. So I'm like, so what are we doing? Are we like, do we compete on the same level?
Mhm.
Or do we always have to be just separated? It's like putting women in an all men's list. There are a lot of women that are better than a lot of guys I've seen.
That's facts.
But do you put them over some of the top male performers in the world?
I gotta go.
No, so we
do you
can't
want me
do
to
that. So
put you
move
on
it
the
to
list? Yes. Do you want me to put you on the list? Yes or no, Swerve? Tell me right now, because I don't have time for this drama.
That's up to you. That's up to you. That's up to you. It's just like we gotta start looking at these lists very interestingly. I don't want to call out names and put people like, oh, why are you putting so and so over so and so, stuff like that. There is that, but it's like, come on, man. The body of work means something. You can't just like throw people away that have like main evented WrestleMania and putting some guys who haven't even been on TV or working on like darks above these guys. I'm like, that's very disrespectful to those guys that have done a lot of things and like literally like changed wrestling, made moments in the biggest stage in the world, and then you're putting like a lot of people who haven't even signed contracts, or not even, I'm not saying contracts he's even that big of a deal, but who haven't really done enough to even consider that kind of acumen to be even compared side by side. It's almost like the top 200 hip hop list. It's like this album hasn't had enough growth to even be considered past like It's Dark and Hell is Hot from DMX, to be considered past NWA, to be considered past All Eyes on Me from Tupac and stuff like that. I'm like, this hasn't had enough body of work and growth to even be compared side by side with these albums. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with the performers. And that, to me, is disrespectful to like a Bobby Lashley, putting him 11 or something like that, to like guys who are just starting to get some momentum now. It's like, no, you can't just throw away all of his history of what he's done. You know, that's like disrespectful to Bobby. That's disrespectful to Kofi's. That's disrespectful to Big E, who broke his neck and can't even wrestle right now, but you're putting all these people before him. Like, no, like, to me, that's just disrespectful. And then like, that's just a whole nother conversation in itself. You can't just throw away people's legacies like that because somebody's having a moment now. That's just me.
The funny thing about this,
Very fair.
the first time you were here, I don't know if you remember, but because we were doing this weird thing at the time where we were tap dancing around whether you're still a free agent or whether you were signed at the time, and he asked you what was something that was your goal wherever you ended up, and you told us that you wanted to change the narrative, especially for the black wrestlers. And so I thought that was interesting, listening to that interview and seeing the way people reacted to you that day, because I'm like, nah, I feel like he told you guys all the way back in February what he's trying to do.
Yeah, like like they can hear me, but are they listening? It's like, are they digesting what I'm saying, or are they just like hearing what they want to hear? Everything I said, I'm doing. Everything I said a year ago, I'm doing now. Everything I said I was going to do in WWE, I was doing. You know what I mean? I'm like, but people are taking in like, once again, moving the goalposts or like trying to thread it apart to like make their own like conclusion or narrative of what I'm saying. I'm like, no, I'm a very direct person. I said I was going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. And like a lot of people also don't like to, they don't like feeling like they got one over it on. So when they like doubt me and then I finally do it and prove it, they are like, oh, well, he said he was going to do it on like this time period. Now he's doing this. Or like they trying to throw it apart because I made you look dumb. Like, oh, no, sorry. But either understand and listen to it closely and understand and really just leave what I'm saying I'm trying to do or what I am going to do, or just be quiet and watch. One of the two. That's all you're going to do. Because I have the receipts and the, I guess there's a lot of people. All I know is there's a lot of people on these forums that are backpedaling all of a sudden, and I've saved like a lot of these interviews and these discussions and these statements that they made, and there's a whole lot of backpedaling going on right now. Because like, oh no, I was all this, and when I was on WWE and NXT and stuff, now I'm on your side, your favorite promotion. I'm doing it over here too. Oh, now it's a different story. Oh, okay.
Well, I think we've seen that in a lot of different ways, to the point of where, gotta ask, it's the elephant in the room. So your name trended about 3 weeks ago, and
I didn't know.
And you weren't even on TV for that to have happened.
I wasn't even on my phone.
Yeah, and nothing had happened with you, but Hit Row had made a return.
Yes, happy for them guys.
Yeah, and so, of course, for whatever reason, people do what they're gonna do. Even though, as I was posting clips of AEW Unrestricted. You talked about this. You talked about where your presence in Hit Row came about and what your goals were today. And yet, everybody missed that. And that whole side was doing a whole lot of talking about whether or not Swerve wants to be with Hit Row right now. And so talking about that, talking about their return and kind of what your legacy was to them and where you feel you stand with all of that right now.
I'm happy for them guys, and I'm happy they got their second chance. I really am. Like, some people were like, are you upset about this? Are you like, yo, dude, like, they're back. I'm like, good. They deserve to be on TV. Mm-hmm. But now, like, this is their chance to be them and do what they do, or however they want to do it. Like, there was a lot of times where, like, I would, like, discuss things and they wanted to do it this way. I'm like, okay, let's try to mesh this together. And it was a lot of teamwork effort and family type vibes with a lot of, like, putting these promos and stuff together. And so, like, I don't think I brought them up to the main roster. I think we did it together, you know, and a lot of people are trying to, like, with these comments and stuff, are trying to separate us, and like they try to do the dividing thing. I'm like, no, you're not going to divide me from my friends. You're not going to divide me from people that I was like really grinding with in the PC and every week at TV, trying to like really do something special and being the most, literally probably one of the most creative people in the entire like PC, because nobody was telling us what to do. We literally had to come up with it ourselves. You know, we did that together to get to the main roster. You know what I mean? But like now it's like I'm on a different wavelength of what I want to try to do and what I'm trying to accomplish. And I'm not saying I'm moving a higher, lower, faster speed than them guys. They move in a great speed too, but I'm moving in a speed that's good for me. And I'm doing something that's really special, and they're going to do something that's really special over there too. And I can't do what I'm about to do in that environment right now. Even if I wanted to, I don't think I would. Because there's just a lot of things of like, once again, WWE is a publicly traded company. There's a lot of red tape and a lot of chain of command you got to go through and talk with this, all these things approved before something comes back to you months later about, yeah, we can finally do it, or nah, that's a no. When I have direct contact with Tony Khan over here, I have numbers, I have schematics, statistics, all these things that back up what I'm trying to do. And he goes, yep, you're good. I love it. Go. Why wouldn't I want that? Why wouldn't I want to like take advantage of that here? Why wouldn't I want to, you know what I mean? So like they have a great relationship with Triple H. They really do. And that was Triple H's choice to bring them back to do that. I'm happy for them, and they have a chance to really like blow up and do some really special things because of the relationship that we've all like, you know, had grown with Triple H at the NXT at the time, and now on SmackDown, the possibilities are endless there. But what I have right now with the close relationships with and the freedoms that I have to do it, which I talked with Reg about before, I talked with Will about before. We've had these discussions. I'm happy where I'm at, and I wouldn't change that for anybody in the world, and for any opportunity in the world.
There, he said it.
And he said it, and he said it out loud. You guys,
like,
listen and listen up.
Hey,
To
I
quote
have to
Reg.
give you your credit, man. Because when you said before, we're done with Ain't Nobody, we're ready to move on. I was like, I don't know, man. Are we? But now you're right, because the new theme hits.
Yep.
Yep.
It's a different presentation, right?
Yep. And I'm still at level 1. I'm still only at level 1.
That's what's up. Speaking of being super busy, recently you announced that on September 5th, you were going to release your first solo album. Hard at Work.
Just single.
Oh, you just released the single. Sorry about
just
that.
Just a single music video. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
First single music video featuring friend of the show, Anthony King.
Yes.
You've been super busy, not only with music, but with other ventures. We saw you at the Grammys this year.
Yep.
That was wild that you were at the Grammys and that they put that on Dynamite. Crazy stuff. You've been just out there trying to become a better person, not just to be a better wrestler, better at everything. Talk to us about your music. Talk to us a little bit about being at the Grammys also.
The Grammys was just that was like I had to step back and really be like, yo, man, this is what, like, who else is really doing this right now in the position that I'm in? You know, like, who else really has the opportunity and the connection? Like, I think there's a lot of like people that have connections to do it in the wrestling industry. I'm not going to put myself on that much of a pedestal, but who's actually doing it? I think everybody has the connections to do anything that they want to do, but like, how much are people really utilizing what they have or what they are? Like, I have a third of a lot of the connections that a lot of people have, but I'm going to go out there and do it. And I get ahead a lot of times with these opportunities like that because I'm willing to go get it.
Right.
And the people that, like, on the other side, like my buddy Prophet, the producer who producing that solo that I'm dropping on September 5th, he won 2 Grammys that day for his work on the Donda album for Kanye West. So the fact that I was like, he's like, hey, you want to come to Vegas and do this and go to the Grammys? Yes, I do. I'll be there. That shows him. I was like, okay, this dude wants it. I'm going to go above and beyond for this guy because he's here doing it. He has, you know how many connections that guy has in the industry? How many friends, how many family members that could just like, he could easily fill my spot. But he asked me and I said, yeah, and I'll take it. And I really hope to not just like, I'm not like trying to showboat or boast about that kind of stuff, but it's like, that's like, I hope that to be a lesson to a lot of people that if you feel like you're not getting where you want to go or you're not getting the opportunities that person is getting, I'm like, dude, just get there. You'll be surprised how much stuff just opens up for you just like taking the sacrifice of the time, the energy, the money, the weekend, like to just be there at an opportunity or at any opportunity to just like to open up a whole nother world for you that you didn't even know was possible just by like just taking that step forward. All the lists of doubt that we put on ourselves, like we need to flip that and make it like all the possibilities of why we should and why we shouldn't. Start making lists of why you should instead of why you can't. And that opens up another doorway to just like, okay, I'm with Kanye's producer. Now this guy has like Kanye vocals that he's going to put on my album. So I have featured vocals from Kanye on my album coming up next year.
Wow.
and my first solo single, my first ever solo single. Shout out to Teasy for putting up with me for 3 albums straight, from Humble Beginnings to GPS to Tears, and following my crazy vision of like how we're going to put this thing together, and really just pushing me to actually do it, and to get me to the point that I'm confident enough to do my own work. Like, that's where I'm at now because I actually stepped up and did it. Shout out to Prophet and Flash Garments for hooking me up with the Big Pressure song. You know, doing that, making that at 4 a.m. in LA, you know, like all these things just happened because I just like, let me try it. Let's do it. And that's where I'm at now. That's how I got here.
Whose house?
You know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it is.
Hey, and since Tony has said it out loud, like I appreciate him giving me the credit for that change, by the way, because because honestly, that was really just me like watching TV, and it just hit me, and I was like, let me just see if anybody else is feeling this idea, and then it was like, oh sure, do you want to do it? And I'm like, yeah, I guess. And they're like, all right, you get, and this, by the way, this all came about on a Tuesday, and not just any Tuesday, the Tuesday before you won the titles. And I didn't know that you were winning the titles. And so it was literally like all right, if you get this done, we could get it into production by Wednesday morning. And I'm like, okay, cool. Because I knew you were wrestling for the titles. Everybody knew that. But I had no idea that it was going to play at the end of the match as well. I thought it was just something we were going to hear in the beginning.
I didn't know that either.
But the funny story about all of that was just I have been paying attention, because one of the things that when an entrance has a call and response like that, the big worry is, of course, is the response going to work? But I have been watching every single week to the point of where I've like actually made a compilation because I'm that obsessive. But I actually have an existing compilation of every single time that's hit and what the reaction from the fans has been. And the one thing I notice is it gets louder and louder and louder every
I notice it too.
And so, yeah, I mean, as you're standing in that go position, it's got to feel good to hear that whose house hit. You kind of listen for it and then make your way out. How has that been?
It's a great call to the fan base. It's like it's really good feeling when like people have they're prepped for you to come out now, rather than they're like, oh, Swerve's here. Oh, okay. No, it wasn't like whose house. Like, oh shit, Swerve's here, and then people sit up and they get ready like that, which was like a great call from Will, and that was just like, and then like just the weeks going by, the consistency, like training the crowd when like the interruption of like, oh, the ass boys are beating up the Acclaimed and Billy. Like whose house? Like, oh, here he comes! And like, it's like,
see, and that was what I had in mind.
Yeah,
but like more than anything, it's like I knew it would work for entrances and things like that for matches, but just as like a surprise call for moments like that, where like people are looking to the ramp for like what babyface is going to come make the save, and then you get that kind of like if you smell effect. Like that's really what I wanted for that. And and the first time they did it and it worked, I would just. I don't know. I fell out of my seat. I'm like, there it is. They all reacted. This is great.
Yeah. It's almost like it's like glass break. The glass breaking. Exactly. Yeah. I was like, that's my glass break to the promotion. I was like, I'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love it. But speaking of the Acclaimed, so of course the connection everybody has made pretty much since day one, because as Reg hinted at, your first segment on Dynamite was you. It started with the Acclaimed. They were interrupted by Hobbs and Starks, and then you made your way in. And
I got heat with all them guys.
Yeah, and don't figure it has now been kind of full circle. Everything that you've done has come back full circle to that first segment on your first Dynamite, where now you're going to be facing the Acclaimed. The connection, of course, everybody is going to make is the fact that you are a hip hop mogul. The Acclaimed, specifically Max Caster, has also made a name for himself off of his music. But this is the beauty of hip hop, right? You can, on a surface level, group those two things together, but y'all are on complete opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of the type of hip hop music you produce and the type of and the way you guys present hip hop culture. But at the same time, it is two hip hop acts essentially.
That was
head to head.
something I was like already like honed in on prior to that. I wanted to make sure I didn't step on what Max Caster built.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to step on that. I'm like, no, this is where your lane is. I'm respecting that to like stay in that, because I don't want to cross over and then we have this clash and then like people are confused. I'm like, wait, he's rap, but he's rap. I'm like, no, he's hip hop influence.
Yeah.
He's rap.
Yeah.
And so like me going into the lane, I'm like, oh, I'm hip hop mogul. It kind of like put me in a different lane, and people like, oh, I get it. He's like a Diddy.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, he's like a actually rapper, like battle rapper, like Nick Wildin' Out and stuff like that. So people already separated us, and that's never been a clash, or the fan base wasn't like confused about that. So that's just having like, even though I've been wrestling longer than Max, I could be like, hey, you gotta stop doing that. I'm doing that. I'm like, no, like, no, like you've built this, you built yourself up with this. I'm going to respect that. And you keep doing that. I'm not going to do anything to like clash in that. And I'm like, there was times where like creative was coming up with things. I'm like, no, that's Max. I don't want to do that. I'm going to keep that to Max.
No battle.
No
battle between Swerve and Max. We don't need that. That's not how this
Everybody keeps
works.
asking for it too.
Yeah.
I keep seeing it. They're like, oh, we're going to get the battle rapper. And I'm like, but that's
No.
that's Swerve hasn't presented himself as a battle rapper. That's not.
No. You never saw Diddy rap, like battle anybody, because Diddy was like, he's an artist. He's a mogul who does art, who makes music.
Right.
I'm a mogul that makes music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's just my influence. And then like you see the connections of me having with Kevin Gates and stuff like that, that put me in a whole nother lane in itself as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? Then seeing me at the Grammys, that put me in a whole nother lane as a hip hop mogul itself. Right. You know, seeing me do all these things. Me, right after doing the Kevin Gates segment, I went to Outkast's studio and was recording music there. That puts me in a whole different lane. You know, like I just want to make sure like there was a distinct difference between that. So when you see me and Max inevitably come together on screen, there's a distinct difference between the two different type of raps, raps or hip hop influence with the two of us. And that's for people that aren't well versed in it, that don't really know the difference. We have to make that for people that don't know hip hop like that and educate them. You know what I mean?
And speaking of which, I wanted to turn and give people an opportunity to get their questions answered, because we got a Twitter question from OJ Patterson. Wanted to know, what song or album made you fall in love with hip hop?
I would say it was like a time period of like a bunch of different albums. Like I liked hip hop because of like Saint Lunatic's album and I think it was Free City, the D12 album, like Devil's Night. Aquemini I was listening to these albums at a young dumb young age where I shouldn't have been. Like DMX, Dark and Hell's Hot, my dad was playing that album. All Eyes on Me, Machiavelli, all that stuff. But when I like became like found my own like knowledge of it and the fandom from it, was definitely like College Dropout, Lupe, The Cool, and Food and Liquor. Those are albums I can still like remember every word to this day.
All four of us.
I'm like, this sounds like exactly everything you described. Sounds like everything that I went. Like I got Dark and Hell is Hot for Christmas in '98, and I was like, the game has changed. Nobody's beating DMX. Like it was. Life was different after that. Life was.
He had two albums that year too, like that.
Yeah. Both of them went number one, and they were battling for number one with the same album, same dude.
Yeah, good
like
time.
It's crazy. Like, and then the still hip hop influence for me. Then it got to like I was taking CDs from my sister, because she's older than me, like 4 or 5 years. I would go into her CD collection, and then like I'm taking this because I would play video games and like played music while I was playing video games. I've been doing that since I was like 9 years old. And Music Soul Child, I Just Want to Sing. played the hell out of that. Genuine, 100% genuine. Cameron, Confessions of Fire,
Yo.
played the hell out of these albums. You know, I just kept going to my sister's CD collection and just taking certain songs and like, because or I'd hear something, I like it, and I just take it in to like listen to the whole album and then like burn a hole through that thing, give it back to her and be like, all right, I'm done with it. Hey. So, yeah, just like there was a lot of R&B influence for me too, like Donnell Jones for sure. Where I want to be. Man.
Man, we could go on and on.
Yeah.
I could really like, yeah. That's one question. I don't want to hog one question.
Right.
I feel like we got perfect timing too, though, because you've name dropped Jid before, and the Jid album just dropped. What do you think of the new album?
Incredible.
Oh,
He
man,
tweeted me
it's
back
so good.
too. He tweeted me back about it too. I was like, yo, like it's crazy. Radar is crazy. Yo, actually, Kim, like I know everybody's like shouting out JID's album. It's freaking incredible. We all know that. It's great. But man, shout out Michi Darko from Flatbush Zombies, who just dropped his single album too. Like freaking Gothic Luxury.
Yeah, I need to
so incredible. So incredible. He dropped the same day as JID. I just want to take time to give him his roses because that album is incredible. He got banging features. Him, Kirk Knight, Denzel Curry, Black Thought is on the album.
Ooh, that's fire.
Freaking Busta Rhymes is on it. Like he went in, and it's like nobody. He's like one of the rappers like nobody sounds like. And if you are a DMX fan, he's from Flatbush, New York, so there's a lot of DMX influence in these lyrics, and he shouts him out on the albums too because like he used to talk to him a lot. Just super talented, and I just want people to hear him.
That's dope. Shout out to Michi Darko. I saw him rap on Funk Flex and he killed it. Yeah, so,
He's incredible.
Yeah,
incredible.
Michi Darko, get that album definitely.
Please,
man.
Gothic Luxury is incredible. I've been playing that back and forth.
That was a busy weekend. That Rock Marciano dropped that same
Oh
weekend.
my
And
god,
that is crazy.
I can't because we'll be here 500 hours.
Yeah,
an incredible album.
Yeah. But Swerve Strickland, one half of the AEW World Tag Team Champions. We're so happy to have you here. And you know, as always, you're welcome back anytime. But we got All Out coming out this Sunday, Now Arena, Chicago, Illinois. AEWTix.com. You can get your tickets. You're going to see this man tag with Keith Lee to take on the Acclaimed. It's a match that a lot of people have been asking for. Now we're going to get it. I was asking for it. Everybody was like, we want to see the FTR match. I'm like, nah, I want to see the Acclaimed versus Swerve in Our Glory. And
we'll get there.
Yeah.
In time.
Yes. So thank you for being here, Swerve.
If anything, they need to get to us at this point.
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
They're like, yo, y'all need to go after them. I'm like, why? We're the champions. They need to come after us.
You're the champions. Yes, exactly. FTR, what's up?
I'm like, I don't care what country they hold their belts in. They still got to come after us. We own the company titles.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Mars.
Love you guys.
Swerve Strickland.
Shout out Dax and Dash.
Thank you. This has been Grapsody Interviews for Swerve Strickland, Will Washington. For Righteous Reg and Philip Lindsay. See you next time.